Today we're talking about breath. So many times we have this notion that yoga is really about stretching, and that's quite the misconception because it takes mindfulness, movement, and breath to really make an effective yoga practice. So let's talk about breath. If you're somebody that thinks that yoga is only about stretching and flexibility, can I challenge you today to try something with me? If you can breathe, you can do yoga. And we're going to talk about the different components and why it's important for us to observe breath and what it means for us. Breath in yoga is called prana. Pranayama is the observance of that breath. Prana is life force. We know that we can't live without it. Our breath is our life force. So in pranayama, you're actually observing the breath. Now, the breath is powerful. It's healing. It helps us find comfort. It is also just something that you find yourself doing out of frustration. Sometimes if you ever get into that place of anger or anxiety or just frustration, you go, right? You take a deep breath, you sigh. And why? Because we're divinely designed to breathe, and your body and your mind and your heart are telling you that. And you might be sighing out of just that moment that you need that big inhalation. So let's talk about the importance of breath. Breath needs to be honored in the alignment of our body as well. Now, why? Because if we slump and dump and we're sitting here and we have bad and poor posture, we're compressing those lungs and we're not breathing to our full capacity or full potential. Now, breath then gets forced towards the front of our lobes, and we never think about these back lobes here. When we honor the alignment of our spine and sit really tall and stack the rib cage above the pelvis, we then decompress the lungs, but also decompress that pressure that we're digging the rib cage into the lungs and then into those organs, right? So if we're compressing the spine, not only are we limiting our breath, but we're also messing up our digestive tract. When you're doing that, you're compressing all of those organs, and then if you have a lot of tummy troubles and you're just not digesting your food properly, it's because we're not breathing properly. That's one big issue, right? So experiment with that. Start breathing better and sitting tall. And let's talk about that alignment really quick here. So I talked about stacking the rib cage over the pelvis. How do we do that? We get into what we call skull draw. So I'm gonna get a little side view here. Now, our skull draw, I want you to place your hand right on the back of the head and push up against it. This is your skull draw. Right? The chin is level with the floor. The next one is your shoulder draw. It's not pulling those shoulders back. And you can do this standing up or sit at the edge of your seat with me and practice this out. But it's not about pulling those shoulder blades back. It's lifting up the sternum slightly and then rolling those shoulders down. So skull draw, shoulder draw, and then a shrink wrap of the midline. You are the ribs here, right? We want to bring those ribs and knit them and stack them right over above the pelvis. Now, if we're someone that leans forward like this, you're tilting that tailbone back, or maybe you're slumping like this. Now you're pulling your pubic bone up towards the nose. You want to stack all of these components in your skull draw, shoulder draw, knitting those ribs, and then lastly softening that sacrum. This is what an acronym we call SSRS, okay? So check in with yourself, sit nice and tall, maybe close your eyes. Let's just focus on that prana. We're gonna take a deep breath in, expand the space in between the ribs, and then slowly exhale, keep the mouth closed, send the breath through the back of the throat. I want you to feel that breath brush against the back of the throat. Again, inhale. Hold your breath to capacity, hold it. Keep the shoulders drawn down and soft. And then slowly create a longer exhale. Send more breath out than you invited in. Send it out. We're gonna do one more, deep breath in. Now if you can't hold it that long, just hold it until you can't anymore. It takes practice. Increasing the breath is like exercising these muscles called your lungs. Exhale. Now open your eyes. So we've honored the alignment of our spine. It's what we call the primary line of energy from the crown to the tail. We've stacked the ribs right above the pelvis. We've opened things up, so really introducing space not in the vertebrae, but also in between the lungs and the organs, and we're improving our digestion. Now, I want to offer you a little bit of a life hack to tie in the science that talks to us about why it's important to breathe. If you're somebody that deals with a lot of fear, anxiety, anger, depression, frustration, you're constantly stuck in this fight or flight mode. It's what we call it's tied into the parasympathetic nervous system, okay? So you've got a nerve, it's called the vagus nerve. It comes from the brain. It's one of the main nerves that come from the brain that stem down into the heart, the lungs, and the digestive tract. When you activate that deep inhale and exhale, you're in essence massaging that vagus nerve that is attached to your lungs, okay? And as you do that, we're pulling ourselves out of that fight or flight response, which can cause you to have heart palpitations, constantly anxiety-ridden, can't sleep well, and then come into a more rest and digest. So if you ever come to one of my classes, that's the first thing we do, we breathe. We breathe because we want to calm ourselves. We don't want to be robbed of the moment of joy that we're going to like step through, and healing and all the goodness that your practice has to offer. We want to focus on our prana, right? Observe that life force, breathe in the goodness, exhale whatever we need to shed, and then really get in front of that anxiety, that anger, the fear, the depression. So coming out of constant fight or flight mode where you're kind of seasoned and stuck, and then getting into more of this rest and digest mode. So we've improved posture, we've improved our organs, or the function of our organs, we're improving our mental state of mind, utilizing the breath to massage the vagus nerve. So many benefits to breath. I hope that helped clarify to you that the importance of how breath plays into yoga. And even when we get moving, I might tell you, inhale, right arm high, exhale, side body stretch. And I'm going to continue to remind you to breathe through your movement, because what it does, it helps us recover as well, right? So if you're somebody that pushes yourself a lot, or you're a runner and you're looking to really build endurance, you're any kind of athlete really, doing yoga helps you practice that breathing for that longevity in your sport and or just in life, right? If you're not an athlete, of course it's beneficial in those ways too. So I hope that clarified some things. I hope that you learned something new about yourself. Try to practice breathing for a good 5 minutes. If it is hard for you to breathe and do those really long exhales, it's gonna take a while to get there. I can't believe how my breath has extended now from just 5 years ago, and how long I can stretch out those exhales. So hope that helps you and equips you with a new tool to put in your goodie bag for coping skills, and to just like improve your sleep and your digestion, your state of mind, and be blessed. I hope that you have an excellent day. It is my honor and joy and pleasure to teach you what I know, and if you ever want to know more, hit me up and get in contact with me, and I would love to help you. Have a blessed day. Thank you.